Hi, I'm Lars. Welcome back to the shop. Today is the beginning of us replacing this post right here, this post right here, and the one right behind me. Let me give you some background on what's going on. This used to be a goat barn. The whole floor was covered in dirt, and that was up to 2022. Before I started really getting the YouTube channel back in, I should have videotaped all this. I've got a bunch of pictures of it, and I'll throw that all up in here somewhere, I'm sure, if I can find them. But the big thing is this was a goat barn. I had to come through and clear out all the dirt, get it down to good solid soil again, and then fill it in with gravel, tamp this whole thing like 20 times. And then I've got a neighbor who has a concrete business, and got him to come over and help me get this concrete down. Basically paid him as his team to come in and put the concrete down. I don't know if I can say his name, but if I can later, I will. I'll ask him about it. He does amazing work, and they all do amazing work. And let's give you an idea. We started this concrete about 6 o'clock in the morning, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon we were walking on it. They really know what they're doing, and it's been here now for coming up on 2 years. And there's minor cracks in it, and they're all around the posts, which were intended, or they're in where the crack joints are, where the cut lines are. Nothing else cracked. So he does phenomenal work. So in the process of this little thing, we have some boards on the outside of the barn here on this edge, like around like this, that started kind of rotting out. We noticed that last fall. So you got to understand, we live on a farm. We got a lot of things that are going on. We got rid of our goats, so that's not going on anymore, but we do a lot of stuff around here. We have 2 barns, this barn, and there's another barn behind us. It's on the other side of there, which if you watch the security install, you'll see more of that barn. That barn's posts are not rotting, and that barn went in like 2008, no, 2009, I think we built that barn. And between the time of us building that barn and when we built this barn, because we bought a kit from a big box store for each of these. That barn's 14 foot tall, same footprint as this one's 10 foot tall. The government decided to change the chemical mixture of treated lumber. That barn's still standing, and it's a good 5, 6, 7 years older than this one. So that one's still standing. No rotting any footings, anything like that. Checked it, it's beautiful. This barn, however, is not. Now, I've come to find out with my research over the last 2-3 months that with the new treated wood, this doesn't happen all the time. There's like a 10% chance of this happening if you put a new treated piece of lumber for ground contact in the ground. They will rot. All right, they absorb water. If you don't know the whole process of rotting, it's really interesting. Go look it up. But basically, they absorb water. Wood absorbs water. It can't get rid of it, and the water being there just starts breaking down the wood, and then a mold forms from the breakdown of the wood, and then that just starts eating the rest of the wood. And eventually, nowadays, what they do is they tell you put your post in it's not a Kevlar bag, it's a it's a reinforced sack, like a feed bag for if you go and you buy feed for chickens like corn or goats or dog food. Well, not dog food, dog foods are plastic now. But if you buy these bags, they're really, really sturdy. They have like a plastic fiber that runs through them. That's what they want you to stick your post in before you put it in the ground. It'd have been nice if they would have told us that when they changed the chemical composition. So, enough about how we got where we're at. where we're at right now is we got to get these 3 posts replaced. Now, we're not going to actually pull the post off and put a whole new post in. This is what we're going to do, or this is what we're going to try. All right, so this is what we're going to try to do. This is a representation of the barn. I know it's really small and it's out of scale, but these are the 3 posts in the barn. This board in the back and this board in the front here are the trusses. This board is the one on the wall. This is the first truss out. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to build some supports between that are going to hold these 2 trusses up. If we cut these boards out, okay, we cut the beams out, they could drop. I don't know if they will or not, but they could. There's always that potential, and I know a lot of people are going, well, they won't drop. Well, I don't like to say won't drop, but they could. So I'd rather be safer and just build some supports. So this is going to be a 2x8, and there's going to be a 2x8 on each side of each post. So all 3 posts will end up with them, and there's going to be a post going up to the beam coming across here holding these guys up. There's going to be a lot more structure than this underneath it, but this is just a representation. The reason that I'm putting two posts on this beam, because if we only had 1, and for some reason when we cut a post, if it dropped a little bit, it would push up on this truss. Or likewise, if this here for some reason got some extra weight to it, it could push up and then push this side up, and the other side could drop and go up. So these 2 posts, long as they're close enough to the beam and close enough to the trusses, if one of them were to go, this would fight it, and also the truss over here would also, with the cantilever coming out and the truss sitting on it, it would hold on to it also. So this is the idea, that this is just going to hold these 2 trusses in place. That's the only thing that these are really doing. And when we cut these, hopefully they won't fall. Now, what are we doing with the posts? So if we turn back on these other bodies here, I can turn this around, I can zoom this in. Currently what we have is we have a post that's like this. It is a laminated post, otherwise that means it's made out of 3 2x6s. Doing laminated posts is much better than a solid post, unless you're going to have something that's like an oak post, because I doubt you're going to do that because they're really expensive. So if you get 6x6 posts and they're not laminated, otherwise you're not putting 3 2x6s together to make them, you have one structure of grain, okay, the way that the actual tree grew. And oaks are the only ones that I know that grow really, really straight. Other trees, they tend to get knots in them, they turn, they twist. If they get into the sunlight, they will actually bow toward the sunlight, okay? So with the laminate, just like kitchen cabinets, and the reason they're made of plywood, and if you really go look at them, they are made of plywood, the good ones are at least, they have their grains going all different directions, and that is to keep that piece of wood from twisting. All right. So if you look at the post as it is currently, there's just a solid post, forget about the purple, but there's a solid post that goes all the way down into gravel. Alright, so the thought on this is that we're going to disconnect the post from the outside wall. We're going to cut it right across here, like that. Once all the gravel's out, we're going to cut it. Then we're going to tilt this guy over, and we're going to pull this out of the ground. And then we're going to fill the void in the bottom where the gravel is, and we're probably going to have to pack mud down the sides of this to keep the gravel in. There's probably mud in there already. But and then we're going to fill that void with concrete. I don't know what the shape of these things are going to be. They could end up being square, they're going to be in round, they're going to be in triangles. I have no idea. But that's just the case. So I'm going to try to keep them as round as I can or as square as I can, but you can only do what you can do. Once that concrete cures, which will take 7 days, then I'm going to measure the distance from the top of this down to the plate that's going to be on top of the concrete for each one of these spots, and we're going to cut new wood to put them in, and then we're going to screw these to hold them in place and put nails in that going to go as far. I got 6-inch nails, so they should go pretty much all the way through this. I don't know if I'll be able to get them on this side, but if I can't, I will just put more screws in. So with that in mind, let's get out to the barn and let's get to it. There's going to be another post back here. Okay, I'm going to get it up. There are separators in the middle. I'm going to put one here, and I'll put one on the other side of this post. Since I've already got one on this side, I don't need another one over here. And then this post and this post will actually hold this beam in place. The reason there's two here is for this. And here's a little visual for you. If I have a piece of wood, and I got pressure coming down on this side and on this side, if I put a post in the middle and that's it, if this pressure is greater than that, it could lift that one truss up. Likewise going the other way. All right, we don't want that. That would be bad. I could build a triangle here and that would work, right, to a point. I'd really have to put this way far out on each edge to make that work, like you see in a lot of bridges and whatnot. Now, I'm electing to put two posts in like this. Now, this is not structurally sound going this way, so I may put some reinforcement in this to keep it from moving back and forth. They're called stabilizers. You'll see it on my CNC machine table, but they're stabilizers to keep this thing from moving back and forth. Basically, they're triangles. So a triangle structure is stronger than any square structure because the structure can go like this. With a triangle, you're getting the pressure coming on both sides. It doesn't allow it to move. So I will put something here, but believe it or not, that little brace that I put on the bottom, like this, and the sides, will keep it from actually, moving back and forth also, because you got two pieces of wood that are laying next to each other that are independent of each other. That's key. So I'm going to finish up on this, and then I got another one to build over there. As you can see, after cutting, this is what the hole looks like, and there's now 3 of them across the way. And of course my cat is going to investigate. The next part of this video is these posts are sitting in what's called 411 gravel, and it goes down about 3 feet below grade, which right now this here is probably about a foot up above grade. So I've got some digging to do. We're going to cut this clean across up here, and then we're going to take a skill saw and cut the front of this off and pull off this layer, and then cut in the back and then pull off this layer. So it's going to have like a tongue. We're going to take this completely out. You can't see it from where we're at. Well, hang on. What we're looking at is the other side of the post and our shop cat Lily. I'm going to zoom in on this. This is what we're having a problem with, is right here. Okay? This is where it's rotting out. Now, the front here is not too bad, but you can see I can kind of peel away some of this rotted wood. And that's why we had it. So, this is a disclaimer. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I've never replaced a barn post, but the theory behind it, I think, is solid. And what we're going to do is, like I said, we need to dig out the gravel, and then get as much of the gravel out away from it as I can, and then we're going to cut the posts, like I said. But I know a lot of people are going to say, well, just go get a backhoe and dig it up, dig out your dirt in the back. You're kind of in the same situation, and we still may need to get a backhoe. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to entail, but we're going to, well, I'm going to probably end up trying to use a shop vac to suck up a lot of these 411s. They're pretty light, and that might help. Getting the post out, I'm hoping it's only rotted about like this much, so that I can put a bolt in it or something, use my tractor and pull that thing out, or if we get enough of the gravel out of there, I can rock it back and forth and pull it out. But I've got time. I've got to go down and dig down 4 feet. I'm going to try to keep this video short as I can keep it, and still let you guys see everything that I'm doing. This is probably going to take me at least a week to get done. So. The problem is these holes, we're supposed to have 411 in it, but somehow, shape or form, they did not get them. They ended up with 4s and 5s and 1s and 2s in them. So, what's happened, from the best that I can tell, is we had a swale that changed in the backyard. And that water came around and it found its way into these 3 holes here. The one on the outside, it just never kind of came into the edge of it. But being that it got in here, it brought dirt with it in liquid form. And then once that water got down in here and dried out, it left dirt behind. I mean, everybody kind of knows how that works. So there's a lot of dirt that is holding a lot of the rock up on the outside of this. And that's a good thing, because I'm digging it out. But if it would have been 411, it would not be being dug out right now. So don't put 4s and 5s or number 1s or 2s in your holes when you're putting poles in. The best thing I would do for any barn, I don't care who you are, I would dig. You got to dig the hole anyway. All right. It's going to take 10 bags of 80-pound bags of concrete, and they're about $5 a piece now. So 5 times 10 is $50. For every post is going to be $50. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're buying gravel, gravel's probably going to cost you about $800 to put in all of your posts. If you've got a barn that's this size. There's like 23 holes here, but if you have low areas and stuff, I would put concrete piers in. Update on day 7 of replacing these 3 posts. Now, so far, we've got 3 holes that look like this here. Okay, this is the only one that's got actual a hole out to the outside, because this is one of the first ones we're going to do. It is the first one we're going to do of the 3. The other ones are only dug down on the inside of this post, because we have rain. It just keeps coming and going every other day. We don't know if it's going to rain or not going to rain here. Welcome to the Midwest. All right, a lot of weather comes in from the west, hits here. For some reason, it just doesn't. We don't know what it's going to do. There's a saying in Ohio: if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes, it'll change. And the other one is, you get all 4 seasons in one day. and that is no joke. So here's one of the pits that I'm working on for the post. This one is right there, 31, so it's 24 inches deep. 31, the 13 means we're 13 inches above the ground at this point at the top of this board. So you take the 31 minus, or 37, sorry, it's 37 minus 13, and that gives you 24. But as you can see, here in Ohio, we are dealing with a lot of water. The water levels are really up. So we need to get these we need to dig down in the gravel so that we're down to the below the frost line for each one of the posts. The big thing is if you don't put the concrete below the frost line, when the ground freezes, the concrete has nowhere to go and it will come up. This is why when you put fence posts in the ground, you're going to put concrete in. You do not bring the concrete up to the top of the where the grass is. You dig down your 3 feet or whatever you need to go down to, but you only put about a foot of concrete in there. That, and then you put the dirt on top of it. The dirt is what is keeping that concrete from moving up and down, if it does move at all. Okay, it's not going to sink, but it could move up and down a little bit. Right. These guys. So I've been working on these posts today. Me and my wife has been digging out this one hole, and we're going to get concrete in here hopefully today. A lot of things we still have to do, but let me show you the hole where we're at and what I've done to keep the gravel back. So if you look down in here, you can see there's a lot of mud on the sides. That's all mud that I packed in. I mixed up in this bucket over here and packed in, so we kept on having gravel slip down in there. Now I think we're good enough to be able to put concrete this wide apart, and then I'm going to build a wall across here and one on this side over here with wood, so that I'm not going to waste a bunch of concrete, and it's just going to get thin, it's going to crack, and it's not going to be real good. And I'm going to be putting rebar in. Now from this angle you can see the rot that is just happening on this board, on these boards, all three of them. And you can also see that around the other side even better. So whatever you do, if you're going to build a pole barn, I would put piers in if I ever did it again. I know they're more money, but let me tell you what, I've pretty much lost 2 months of my life after work and weekends and whatnot. So it is much worthy to put piers in. Alright, well, we thought the camera was recording and it was not, but just cut through this, and as you can see the supports are holding because otherwise I would not be able to move this like I'm doing. I've got to get this off this back board here, but I'm going to cut this off of here real quick. This is the first tongue, and then I can't get into the back with the second tongue, so I'm going to have to try to figure something out for that. And I don't really want to hit the steel down. By the way, it's in Ohio right now. It's April 27th, I think. It's a Sunday, and it's 80 some degrees. I think it's 82 degrees outside. And so everything's drying up, and then welcome to Ohio. It's going to rain again on Monday night. And by the way, I'm using my old DeWalt. It's like 2009 with a 20 volt 5 amp hour battery, in case all you guys are wondering. And no, that's not sped up, that's how fast they actually run. So I need to get this out of here now. Okay, so I'm going to cut these nails out of here. I got a metal blade on it. But you can also cut wood with it. Alright, so you notice I only took the front of this off. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. I know the lighting in here is really bad. Let me have that. Okay, so I think you guys can see this now. There's a tongue that we're going to put in here. So I got to cut the back of this one off, and then this are a release. These are going to get sistered with new lumber, and you guys will see that if you continue watching the video, and they'll get connected to the pier. But I'm really happy that this didn't just drop down. So we're going to get back into this. Alright, that gets the back tongue out, hopefully. Gotta spread it a little bit to get the Sawzall, reciprocating saw, whatever company you're using. I like my DeWalt's. Again, like I said, I've had this for 15 years and there hasn't been anything it can't cut yet. There you go. Now we got a tongue. Now we just got to get this out of here. Once we get it out of there, I got to disconnect it from. Well, we got to get it off these boards on the outside, so we're gonna have to peel the steel back. And we get that out of there, start getting concrete poured. All right. All right. Now that we're outside here, this is what we're looking at now. Barns are put together with these screws that look like this, okay? And they have a little special bit that goes in, they're magnetic and you can put them in. So we have got to get this off, which you can see I've already taken out some of the screws on this, but I got to get it off far enough that I can get behind it without actually taking it down. Because this thing is, I don't know, 19 feet tall. So I'm going to have to get a ladder and go up a little more because I've already got them out up to there, up to here. But I got to get them up to the neck so I can pull this back a little further. I might also be able to take off the next panel, which starts here, and that might be able to get me to lift this off a little more. I'm going to try that first. Take this panel off, at least the screws out of it. Maybe over to there, maybe 3. So those of you that think that if you own a barn, that putting a lock on the door is going to keep people out of your barn, I hope you're having a rude awakening right now, or not having a rude awakening, because this is really all you need to do and you're right in somebody's barn. All you need to do is have a drill bit, which they sell at pretty much any store you go to. Let's see if I can get behind her now. I think I can. So this is what we're looking at back here. I got to bend this back far enough to get these screws out. Okay, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 8 of them, I think. And some of these are on rotted wood, so they're not going to. This is one reason don't use screws for structural things. They break very easily. And if anyone tells you different, show them this video. That one's in rotted wood. All right, so let's go back inside. So now we got the screws out of the back and off the barn wall. The whole barn wall moves. This should, once we get it out of the mud in the bottom, we should be able to get this to be moved over pretty easily. But I'm gonna have to get a spud bar to break that free. Or we call a big nail. Need to get this past this little spot here. Now we should be able to pull this out of here, but we've got a concrete block down there that seems to be stuck to this piece of to the post. It's not a concrete block. All right, so you can see that there was some posts put on the bottom, some footings put on the bottom to keep it from rising out of the concrete or mud or rock or whatever, which is usually a pretty good idea. You can also see up in this area here all the rot that was there. This is the inside board. You can see how this is all just rotting out. It's all the way up to here, and this is above grade, okay? This is below grade, but this is above grade. This is what we saw, and from the outside we were seeing this at the top. We didn't even know any of this was going on. So I don't know how many more posts that we have in the barn that could be doing that, but that looks pretty bad. But I know that these 3 posts are. So again, if you're ever going to build a barn, I highly recommend putting in piers instead of sticking them in gravel or in the ground at all. So, but this is the way it's going to, you can replace them at least. And as you can see from this now, from this angle, you can see the tongue that we're going to put in. And you can also see down at the bottom that how much water was sitting down underneath the ground. Now, standing water is not the problem, okay? As you can see on the bottom of this post, it's not rotting down there. It's not the standing water. It's the water and the dirt and it not drying out, because you get little microorganisms like worms, termites, whatever. They get in there, they find a little hole, they start making a nest, and next thing you know, mold starts growing from their feces, and then this ends up to what happens to your post. Alright, so we put some concrete at the bottom and let it set for about a half hour, kind of solidify a little bit. And then we're putting this rebar in, which, as you can tell, I'm not the greatest rebar bender in the world. But we got it tied on, and now we're adding concrete to cover up the rebar. This has got to come up all the way to the bottom of the existing floor, so this is going to take a bit of time. Alright, so we got the concrete poured. Now it just has to cure. Yeah, and I don't want any comments coming in from all the construction guys going, that form looks like crap, because I know it does, but it's, you know, the best we could do with what we had. It is a hole that is in gravel. So we'll take another look at it in a few days and hopefully get this form broken down. It'll probably be about 5 days from now. 2 days from now it's going to be raining again. So. Sometimes it's really good to be ambidextrous.
You use it as a pry bar? No, you put it in behind there. It's right there.
Alright, so what we're doing is we're putting what's called 411s, or what a lot of people call crusher run. It's 1/2 inch down to dust in the hole next to the pylon. And what that's going to do is we're going to put about 4 inches in, add water to it, tamp it a little bit, add another 4 inches, add water, tamp it a little bit. That's going to make it really tight and almost into like a concrete. Alright, this is a recommendation from my neighbor who owns Parsons Concrete Construction, and they do this all the time. So he's been doing this for like 30 years or something to that effect. I don't know exactly how long, but a long time. And he really knows what he's talking about. This seems to be working really good. Alright, so we had that little 20-minute stint with the pouring down rain. It gets really loud in a barn. If you have never been in a barn, I might take a little bit of the video, like maybe 10 seconds and just, or 5 seconds, because it's really loud. But what we've done is now the pillar's in, the post is in. So let me, more interested in this than me. The post is in, the pier's in, got the post in, got some nails through this. Had my wife come out, which we tried to use a palm nailer, and I guess our palm nailer needs a new gasket on it for O-ring. So we tried to pull this back, put them in. Couldn't get them in the other side, so I hit one in with a hammer and then just put screws down for the rest of it. There's about 12 screws in it, so I think that would be okay. But it is what it is. These nails actually go through to about here, so nearly 3/4 of the way next to the other side. We put the gravel in, and putting it in, we put in 4 inches at a time. Then we put about a pint of water on it, the big area, just to get it to settle. And then I will go back later. I've got a small tamp, and I'll just tamp this, hand tamp it. The outside's about maybe 4 inches below this because there's a piece of wood there. And there's something we're going to have to do with the outside of the barn once we get it done. So if you're interested in all this, keep watching this video. I'm going to repeat this process for the next two. I'm going to repeat this process for the next two posts. All right. I'm sorry, but the first post we cut, there was a problem with the camera. For some reason, the battery died out here. No idea why, because it's always been a full battery. But when we cut it, this post did not drop. All right. They could have went either way. Actually, all the structure that we put in was very well worth it. So if you're going to do this with your barn, make sure you put structure on it. Here comes the rain again. But when we cut the other ones, I'll make sure that we're videoing on those. So without further ado, because I know you can probably not hear me anymore, we're going to stop working on this for today and get back to you on the next day. So as you can see, these are not real pretty, these posts. And that doesn't really bother me. More the thing that I'm more worried about is whether or not this is going to support the barn. Okay, so today is June 23rd. So we started this journey March 17th, so April, May, June 23rd. It's been 3 months since we started working on these barn posts. What I want to show you now is we've got the skim coat started on the back of the barn. We still have some work we have to do here. But I was talking about a skim coat, and I want to show it to everybody. So this is what's meant by a skim coat. As you remember, before this just had dirt all up against it. Here's the first post pier. I don't know if we're going to cut that down or not, but the skim coat will hold all that gravel inside, That's the second pier right here. Here we ran out of concrete, so we didn't get the skim coat into this area. This has now gotten filled with dirt, gotten pushed up here with the concrete to hold in the gravel that's on the inside, and skim coat continued on, and then we ran out, like I said, we ran out of concrete. So I need to get a couple more bags of concrete. It takes about, to do the skim coat, it's about one 80-pound bag for about 4 feet. So like I said, I'll need like a bag and a half here, and I got like a half a bag left inside. And then I'll put once I get this side done here and over here, once this is all together, I will come back and I will put a really good skim coat down everything to make it look nice. And then just like there's a pile of gravel right here, we will put gravel down the entire back side. So this will all look really good, and there won't be any of these weeds or anything here. So let's go back on the inside and I'll show you what we've done in there. Hopefully you did not come to this channel and do a search on Google or YouTube to find out how to replace your pole barn post or how to fix it because it was rotting out. Hopefully you came here just to see the video, just to say you're interested in how it might be able to be done. But if you did, I'm hoping these posts and what we've done here gives you an idea of what you need to get done to get your post replaced, how much work's involved in it. Hopefully it takes you a lot less time than I did. You don't have all the rain you have to deal with. These guys are standing really strong. They're standing on concrete piers. I'm not worried about these coming down. As you can see, here's the stack of all the structure that we had in here, all the beams that were holding up the 2 trusses, and these are the posts. The north post wasn't rotted too bad. The one in the middle here must have been in the swale a lot more. It's rotted a lot. And this one here we had a cut off, was on the south side. It didn't have too much, but it was getting there, definitely. If you like the video, please click like. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 mark for subscribers. As always, you're welcome back here at the shop. You're welcome at the channel. You're welcome on our farm. And have a nice day.